The streets of Manchester were alive with a profound mix of sorrow and celebration on the day of Ricky Hatton's funeral, a poignant farewell to one of the city's most beloved sons. The former two-weight world champion, whose life was cut tragically short at the age of 46, was laid to rest in a ceremony that drew hundreds of mourners, fellow fighters, celebrities, and everyday fans who had been touched by his infectious charisma and unyielding spirit. Hatton, found dead at his home in Hyde on September 14, left behind a legacy that transcended the ropes of the boxing ring, embodying the grit, humor, and heart of working-class Manchester. His funeral at Manchester Cathedral wasn't just a service. It was a communal embrace, a chance for the world to reflect on a man who unified people through his punches, his pints, and his unwavering loyalty to his roots. As the funeral cortege wound its way through the familiar haunts of Hatton's life, it painted a vivid picture of the neighborhoods that shaped him. Departing from the Cheshire Cheese pub, his cherished local on Stockport Road in Hyde, the procession evoked a sense of homecoming. This wasn't a sterile procession through anonymous streets. It was a journey through Hatton's personal map, stopping at the Harehill Tavern and the New Inn, where doves were released in his honor, their wings carrying whispers of freedom and peace. In a touch that captured Hatton's playful side, his beloved yellow Reliant Robin van from the classic British sitcom Only Fools and Horses was towed on a low-loader trailer, a nod to his love for comedy and the absurd joys of life. Mourners outside the Cheshire Cheese waved Manchester City flags emblazoned with, "There's only one Ricky Hatton," their applause thundering like a crowd at the AO Arena on fight night. Flowers and tributes piled onto the trailer, a sea of blue blooms mirroring the coffin inside, etched with Blue Moon, the anthem that became his battle cry. Hundreds lined the roads, their presence a testament to Hatton's magnetic pull. James Bowes, a 36-year-old superfan who had known Hatton since 2002, stood among them, his voice cracking with emotion. Bowes had been more than a spectator. He was part of the Hatton inner circle, carrying the champion's belts into the ring during some of his most electric bouts, including trips to Las Vegas. "I went to every fight with him," Bowes shared, his eyes distant with memories. "People used to ask if the belts were heavy, but they weren't for me. If it wasn't for Ricky, I would have never gotten to the fights. He was my best friend." For Bowes, Hatton wasn't just a fighter. He was the spark that ignited a lifelong passion, a man whose generosity extended beyond the spotlight. As the cortege paused, the crowd's respectful silence gave way to cheers, a fitting echo of the roars that once filled stadiums for the Hitman. The procession's route was deliberate, a pilgrimage through landmarks of Hatton's triumphs and trials. It halted briefly at Energy Fitness, Hatton's gym, where the doors stood closed in quiet reverence. Fans in city shirts and waving flags lined the streets, releasing blue balloons and igniting flares that painted the sky in sapphire hues. Rita Ellis, 60, captured the sentiment perfectly. He was just a decent bloke. There weren't any airs and graces about him, and he had time for everyone. He deserves this turnout today. He was one of us. Her words hung in the air like smoke from the flares, underscoring Hatton's everyman appeal. He wasn't a distant idol. He was the local lad who bumped into you at the pub, shared a laugh over a Guinness and made you feel seen. Rob Knowles, 27, had taken the day off work to stand there admitting, "I didn't know him personally, but sometimes people have an impact on your life. I grew up watching his fights and it meant more because he lived just down the road." Further along at the Shepherd's Call near Hatton's training grounds, regulars raised glasses in a toast as the hearse passed, their murmurs a blend of grief and gratitude. The route continued to Hyde Town Hall, Body's gym in Denton, and finally the AO Arena, the hallowed ground where Hatton claimed his first world title against Kostiat Said 2 decades prior. That night in 2005 remains etched in boxing lore. A raucous, electric atmosphere where Manchester's underdog became a king, the crowd's energy propelling him to unify the light welterweight division. The AO stop was more than symbolic. It was a reminder of Hatton's ability to turn arenas into cathedrals of camaraderie, where strangers became family under the spell of his all-action style. Inside Manchester Cathedral, the service unfolded with a gravity befitting a man whose life was as larger than life as his knockouts. Invitation only, it gathered an eclectic assembly. Oasis frontman Liam Gallagher, who once joined Hatton for a ring walk against Polly Malignaggi in 2008, their shared Manchester pride forging an unbreakable bond. Boxing royalty turned out in force. Tyson Fury, Amir Khan, Tony Bellew, Frank Bruno, Scott Welch and Fraser Clark, each a thread in the tapestry of British pugilism Hatton helped weave. Beyond the ring, figures like former England cricket captain Andrew Freddie Flintoff and ex-Manchester United star Wayne Rooney added layers of cross-sport solidarity, while Colleen Rooney, Hatton's ex Claire Sweeney, comedian Patty McGuinness, darts icon Phil "The Power" Taylor, Coronation Street's Bruce Jones, TV personality Callum Best, ex-City footballer Paul Dickhoff, presenter Chris Kamara, and EastEnders Dean Gaffney filled the pews with a mosaic of celebrity and local lore. At the heart of it all were Hatton's family, his emotional parents, Carol and Ray, who led the procession with a dignity born of shared joys and sorrows. Ray, the stoic father who watched his son rise from amateur scraps to global stages, and Carol, the nurturing force behind the fighter's unshakable confidence, stood as pillars amid the storm of loss. Joining them was Billy Graham, Hatton's legendary trainer, whose guidance had been inseparable from the boxer's ascent. Graham wasn't just a coach, he was a confidant, a strategist, the man who turned raw talent into refined fury. Their partnership, forged in Manchester's gyms, symbolized the discipline and devotion that defined Hatton's career. The service itself was a tapestry of tributes, weaving Hatton's professional highs with his personal depths. Eulogies likely echoed the 45 wins and 3 losses from 48 professional bouts, but they delved deeper into the man who humanized the sport. Hatton's style, relentless pressure, body shots that sapped opponents' will, and a vulnerability that invited counterpunches, mirrored his life, bold, bruising but always forward-moving. His defeats, especially the stoppage against Floyd Mayweather in 2007 and the savage knockout by Manny Pacquiao in 2009, didn't diminish him, they amplified his resilience. Tens of thousands followed him to Las Vegas for those epics, turning Sin City into a blue-collar outpost where Brits sang Blue Moon, until dawn, their thirst for beer rivaling their thirst for victory. Stories of fans draining Vegas dry became folklore, a testament to Hatton's power to mobilize a nation.